Hello, welcome to this new episode of the Astral TV. This episode is from January the 16th of the year 2026. Today is a Friday. Today's show, I hope you're going to enjoy it. I want to give a call out to Melissa, a viewer of the show, which she made a comment around a month ago, not more than that, around 1.5, 2 months, that she says she's also interested in leaving the system. As I said many times, that I made the commitment to myself that this is my last ride here on this system, my last incarnation here on planet Earth, that I decided that I want to try something else. And she made a great question, great question, very deep comment that is really trying every day enough. And the answer is I don't know. I can only share what I think, what I feel more than think, that is gonna be enough to leave the system. And in a nutshell, it's ignoring all the distractions when we reach the 4D, the astral. Okay. What I think happens is when you physically die, you leave the body, and what leaves the body is the soul. The soul is like a encapsulation of the spirit. It sounds great, sounds beautiful. It's still part of the system, okay? And the soul carries everything you had in your physical body. All the guilt, all the fear, all the trauma, everything is there, all the memories. That's why I had a confusion for such a long time, years. Why, when we reach the astral, we are deceived so easily by the eighth sphere, the false heaven, and what I'm going to talk about in a second. Why? Why we go there in pure spirit form, which I used to say, I'm totally changed my position now. I used to say the soul, the spirit is the same. No, the spirit, it's like a bag for the soul and carries the mind and carries the memory. Maybe not the physical mind, it's an energetic mind, a representation of the mind, but everything is there. That's why you physically die, you go to the astral, and immediately the eighth sphere, the false heaven, presents, and is the light, okay? And is the tunnel, is the light. Then very different things are going to happen. I don't think anyone knows for sure the order or if all of these things happen, but it could be a combination of religious figures important to you because you have your soul, you have your memories, you can be scanned. If you were in pure spirit form, you couldn't be scanned. But if you're in this state, very similar, almost identical to your physical form, you can be scanned. You are giving out all the information, what you want to see, what you're expecting. And what you're expecting, well, all the programming they bombarded you for a lifetime is going to play out in the sense I'm expecting to see Jesus Christ. I'm expecting to see the Prophet Muhammad. I'm expecting to see Buddha. I'm expecting to see another figure important to me. Maybe the poet Rumi. Maybe, I don't know, someone, I don't know, Matthias Di Stefano. I'm just throwing names out there. Deepak Chopra or something like that. Okay. Donald Trump. Maybe was who was important for me. The key is because you got your memories. For them, it's really important. Whoever they present has to have died before you because you know that it's not going to make sense. Okay, Donald Trump is still alive. You pass today, you see Donald Trump there. Is who are you? Are you here with me? Because I remember you're still alive. So they are smart in that sense that they're going to present family members that have transcended, that have died before you. So you know perfectly, and you say, "Oh, this makes all the sense in the world." Hello, uncle. Hello, mother. Hello, father. Hello, very unfortunate part. If you have a son that departs before you, that has to be one of the most difficult things. Um, they certainly gonna present him or her to you in this eighth sphere. So basically, you go to this light. It feels great. Physically, I mean, you are not in physical form, but remember, you're in soul form, you're in astral body form, you're in etherical body form. So you still have these feelings, these emotions, okay? So it feels great as far as a pleasure. It feels great, great. So you're attracted to this light, okay? So you go there, you start this, then once you have a kind of accepted you want to be there and you're gonna go to this heaven or something like that, to this light, that's when they say we need to do a life review, okay? And this life review is from a point of judgment. And a very important thing you have to remember is there is no judgment in unconditional love. The love of the Creator, the love of creation is unlimited, unconditional, and without judgment. So there are no conditions and no judgment, okay? So whatever they want to present for you to feel guilt, to you to feel you have to come back and learn again, you have to come back and fix it, karma. Remember, this this system of balance doesn't work that way. Uh, Honestly, I don't feel it works that way. The system that you did all these bad things. I mean, if you look with a magnifying glass, all of our lives, I mean, you could have tried to be your best. And honestly, they're going to find 10, 20 things that you really, really miss the point, okay? Oh, do you see here? Do you see how you treated your mother here? Do you see how you treated your child here? Do you see how you treated this person that was expecting something from you in the street? He was just asking for a few coins. He was just asking for a minute of your time, and you totally ignored him because you were in a rush or something like that. They're going to use all of those moments we certainly had in our lives. All of those moments, okay? Um, and of course, if let's say you were a criminal in this life, they have a lot. They have a lot to show you, okay? So it depends on how much you have given them. But the point is not the life review. The point is that the life review is from the point of judgment. So you also need to remember and really work every day that judgment doesn't exist in unconditional love. In this state, you're supposed to be among higher beings and that, which I put huge air quotes on all of that, because they are not that. They are they're playing a play, okay? They're actors, okay? I know it's really difficult when I say they're gonna present Jesus Christ and it's not Jesus Christ. That someone's gonna tell me, yes, he is okay. Then I don't know what to tell you, honestly. Um, so then after this life review is when the commitments come. Is when you decide through your own free will, you decide, hey, I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna fix this and that. Doesn't gonna work. It's never gonna work. That's why you have come back hundreds of times, tens of times, hundreds of times, even some thousands of times. It's never gonna work. It's an eternal cycle that they wanna keep you looped all the time. And it works through guilt and it works through all the emotions we experiment through life. Okay. All the ones I talk in the last 2 minutes of every show. The rage, the fear, the envy, all of these emotions that really don't serve you. Because it doesn't work through love, it doesn't work through peace, it doesn't work through that. It works through fear, it works through envy, it works through competition, it works through violence, it works through justice, this concept, works through this concept that, okay, I deserve more and more than others, the lack of balance, the total breaking of the law of balance in the universe. 2 drops of water, there are 2 drops of water, and we want to be a better, a bigger, a more rewarded drop of water. And that don't want to work if we think that way. We're not going to leave that system. I just want to put that out there. So I'm going to do a show. It's going to come in probably in a month and a half because I have a lot of inventory. And it's going to be the next show I'm going to prepare. And that show I'm going to do it presentation style. And I'm going to give you whatever, everything that I just mentioned, but in a presentation slowly so you can kind of sink in. Again, this is not a blueprint to leave the system. I'm not sure there's one. These are just suggestions, but at the end, in a nutshell, if you want the really basic version that I think still works, is basically when we physically die, we have to be prepared to immediately leave the soul as well, leave the encapsulation of the spirit, and make the spirit shine and come out. And if that happens, there is no eighth sphere, there is no false heaven, there is no fake religious figures, there is no fake family members, there is no fake or judge-based life review, there is no commitments, there is no limiting beliefs, there is no contracts for your next reincarnation, there is no next reincarnation. You are pure spirit. You go towards the exit, and that's it. You leave the system. Okay, that's the way. There is no negotiation with these beings. And it's not because they are to be afraid of or they are involuted. It's not like that. There's no arguing. There's nothing with that. You just have to leave. And to leave, you have to leave the soul. The soul is still part of the trap. And of course, the soul goes into the body. And then that's why in this density, I remember episode 3, a long time ago, 2022, all your limits are self-imposed. I remember one of my first comments, probably maybe the first one or second comment overall, out there on another platform, not on YouTube, Uh, Someone said, because you're not going to find that, I ported that video to YouTube in a later date, so it's not the original one, but it's probably still out there on the other platform. And the gentleman said something along the lines, I don't remember exactly, you're insane or you're an idiot or something like that, a little bit belligerent. If I jump from a building, I'm gonna die. Yeah, in the physical form, in this reality. I was not talking about that. All your real limits, all your spiritual limits are self-imposed. And one of the basic limits is we cannot leave the system. And I hear that all the time with other people I have collaborated, and I respect their opinion. But I disagree. I say, let's agree to disagree because I don't agree with you. I think we can leave the system. And not only me, by the way, because that will make me special, the ego, I know how to live and you don't know how to live. Everyone can leave the system. And it's very simple, in a very simplistic form. You have to leave the soul as well. And that sounds like destroying ourselves because they have done such a good program, such a good promise, particularly through religion, to make us think the soul is the spirit. And making the difference, for me, is the key. The soul encapsulates the spirit, but it also has the trauma, the memories, the limiting beliefs, the knowledge, everything. Basically, you die, and the only thing that stays is the body. And yes, the mind in physical form. What you see in the pictures out there on science books and that through school, that stays there. But your energetic part of the mind, the ego, is still there in the soul. That's the problem. If you are prepared, when you reach the eighth sphere, the false heaven, and to leave the soul, you're going to be fine. And that's what I'm going to share in that show that's going to come in like 2 months, which I'm going to do this slowly, no support video. I'm going to do it presentation style. So that's going to be my best effort to give you a blueprint, okay? Which I'm not claiming to have, because this is a personal process. And in the end, you decide if you leave or not, okay? So let's watch the support video. It's a nice one. And I'll give you my final thoughts. I went a little bit long on this explanation on the eighth sphere, the false heaven.
In 1998, a document was discovered in the Vatican's secret archives that the Church immediately sealed away. Its name was Codex Spiritualis Octava, the Eighth Sphere Codex. This document stated that what you believe to be heaven is actually a trap, and what you think of as reincarnation is a control system that recycles your soul, again and again and again. In today's video, I'm going to show you how ancient mystics, Gnostic texts, and modern near-death research all point to the same thing. Humanity is trapped in a cosmic prison, and every reincarnation throws you back into that prison. Let me tell you exactly how this discovery happened. Father Antonio Marcelli, a junior archivist at the Vatican Library, accidentally found a hidden chamber while reorganizing 12th century manuscripts. Inside this chamber were over 200 documents that didn't officially exist in any church records. The Codex Spiritualis Octava was written in the 4th century CE, originally in Greek. It was a secret text of the Gnostic Christians that the Church had declared heretical and destroyed. Only one copy survived, secretly preserved by monks who knew its value. This text contained a detailed description of a false light system that traps souls. Here's what the document revealed. The physical world we experience, this 3D reality, is actually the 7th sphere, a material prison. But when people die and move toward the light, they're actually entering the 8th sphere, an intermediate zone that looks like heaven but isn't. The 8th sphere has specific characteristics. Your deceased loved ones greet you there, but they're artificial constructs. You experience overwhelming peace and bliss, but it's a chemically induced state. You undergo a life review that's actually guilt and attachment programming. And finally, you make a voluntary agreement for your next life, but it's forced consent through manipulation. Now, you might have heard that when people return from near-death experiences, they talk about seeing the light, meeting deceased relatives, and feeling at peace. But have you ever noticed that in almost all near-death experiences, there's one common element? None of them are told how they got there, why they're there, or whether the next step is optional. This isn't a coincidence, it's by design. But this Vatican document isn't alone. Ancient civilizations, the Egyptians, Tibetans, Gnostics, and they discovered methods to escape it. Why did the Church destroy all these texts? Why did the Council of Nicaea in 325 CE specifically ban Gnostic teachings? Let's look at what ancient wisdom actually says. Before the 4th century, early Christianity had multiple schools of thought. Gnostic Christians had a complete parallel system that was radically different from the mainstream church. The core Gnostic belief was this: the physical world is a false creation made by the Demiurge, a false god. The true divine source is hidden beyond this material prison. Human souls were originally divine beings who got trapped in this prison. And reincarnation is a recycling mechanism, not liberation.
Okay, I know this was such a nice support video and only 3-4 minutes, but it explains a lot of the concepts we have been talking for a few months now, since the archons and the Demiurge and all that, and the reincarnation cycle. I know it gets a little bit repetitive, but this one, I think, summarizes very well what really happens when we transcend, when we physically die. I want to clarify, physically die, because we never die for real. It's just a physical, just a transition, okay? But it's quite important, as we see, because these documents, and I always said, if the Vatican had nothing to hide, why doesn't open their own archives as a library? I would love to honestly scan through there. I think there's very interesting stuff. This apparently, what I've heard is that there's great stuff on our past, great stuff about Atlantis, for example, great stuff on astronomy, great stuff on energy, you know, how energy works on the universe, which I'm totally convinced energy is available, is never produced. That's a backwards way to go about it. We're actually forcing something called enthalpic energy, which is basically the heat component of everything, and through that we create means to create dynamic energy. But energy is just available, okay? And I think a lot of that information is there. But going back to the subject, there's nothing to hide, you share it. Why do we need to find these things? Becomes very cryptic. But even if the Vatican had made a better job to shut this down, all of this information, it comes through your own intuition, the real universal wisdom. What I say, Terrence Howard, the former actor, now bright mind, wise mind, he connects to that wisdom, okay? So he doesn't need books. He doesn't need for this information to come out. He's not recycling information or knowledge from others, because that's, in a way, if you think about it, if you're, I mean, I give you props if you're a doctor or something like that, but you have, in a way, processed information and modify information all over again. And through your own experiments, yes, for sure. But in a way, it's always secondhand. With this comes to our hearts, and we know it. We know it. And I'm not special. I'm not the only one in the world. It's happening to millions, probably billions. I think a good percentage of humanity knows it, but also a good percentage elects to not listen to it because it scares us in a way. Oh my God, there's things are not like they appear, and that's scary for some until they have to go through their own process. By the way, we're all in individual processes. There's no one size fits all. So whatever happens in our own process, we're going to get there eventually. That's what gives me a lot of peace. When I, particularly in the Spanish channel, I get invited to other channels and that. And I've been asked that question 2, 3 times. When? Give us a date. When? I don't have a date. Because it depends on the free will and the process of millions of beings, billions of beings. How could someone claim that an alien, a Pleiadian or something like that, gave them 2028, 2030? That's, with all due respect, that's BS to me. That's a huge red flag. That's why I'm not even consuming that content anymore. When I see an asteroid is coming, I channeled an alien and it told me that 2030. Why will an alien tell us that an asteroid is coming? Just to stress us if there's no solution. I mean, and of course, it goes back to the fear of dying. Okay, because if we don't understand that, of course, it's fearful. For some, for a percentage of humanity, I don't want to say the majority because I don't think that's the case, but for a good percentage, it's the end. It's the end, even if they have religious beliefs, because in a way, they are not 100% sold. So it's the end. So imagine, why would an alien do that? And even the solution is not to continue the physical in that sense, okay? It's to be prepared if something like that comes. Okay, this is a transition, okay? How do I deal with the transition? I also been receiving a lot of information, not a point to discuss how, through other people, intuition and that. I've been receiving a lot of information that this system that we discussed today, the 8 sphere, which is basically the reincarnation system completely, it's not working very well lately. That a lot are figuring out. That gives me a lot of peace as well. There's apparently, that's the reasons that we're being bombarded even more right now with these adjustments they're making, trying for the programming to be stronger because it's not working when some people are transcending, are physically dying, okay? So that's something that gives me a lot of hope. And I remember when I started the channel that I wanted to share this information and said, if one person starts looking inside, discovers who they are, I don't want any credit. I don't care about that at all. It's not the ego. It's just all of this has to be through you. These processes are personal, are individual. Okay, you have to figure out your own process. And you have to figure out it's like a line, okay? I know we don't like lines because it's like the line of life, the competition. No, it's not a competition. You are not competing with others. You are in your own process. This is individual. And whenever you figure it out, and whenever things come to you, just let them, like being out there in the sea and enjoying being out there in the sea, not being concerned if you're going to drown, where you're going, where you're coming from, when you're going to get there, what is going to happen when you get there. All of these questions, just forgetting and enjoying the process. The self-discovery process is beautiful, in my opinion. So, my suggestion for today, same as I say on the last 2 minutes of the show in many, many words, discover who you are. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you for your attention. Have a great Friday, a great weekend. If everything's okay, I'll see you back next Friday, January the 23rd. Take care. Thank you for making it to this part of the video. This is my favorite part. This is where I suggest to you that you discover your true self. You are not what you have been groomed to believe. You are this incredible being without limits that has eternal life, amazing strength, infinite wisdom, and a big, beautiful heart. All your limits are always self-imposed. Your best version in this reality is inside you. Your only mission on this life is to become a beacon of love and to serve others. This version is ready to be discovered today. How do you discover your true self? The discovery process is a personal one. No one can do it for you. Dedicate 5 minutes a day to talk to the universe. Simply ask, who am I? Where do I come from? What is my purpose? You will start getting signs, breadcrumbs, and signals. You will notice how your notions about this reality start disappearing. No more hierarchies, no more competition, no more complaining, no more depending on others. Discovering your true self equals to real freedom. Your self-imposed limits will fall and you will be ready to understand this reality, but you must be patient to allow others to wake up at their time through their own free will. That will be really soon, you will see, and that will set up a new world. As you work towards your best version, you will notice how all emotions don't serve you anymore. Hate, fear, rage, pride, lust, envy, violence, justice, true violence, judgment of others, and other emotions will disappear from your mind and heart. You will understand those emotions are only your egoic mind and are not you. Please try to be understanding of others that don't think or feel like you. Everyone has a process. No one is right or wrong. We're all just different. Don't be concerned about being right, ever. Don't allow pride preventing you from patching things up with family and friends. It's very important you enjoy this life with your loved ones. Put in the work to patch things up and leave it to others to decide. Thank you very much for watching. Please share, like, and subscribe. If you have any comments or suggestions, please use the comment section below. For private questions, conversations, and if you'd like to appear on the show, please email me at hey@thealexshow.tv. Thank you again. Please don't forget to visit our website www.thealexshow.tv. By giving me your time, you honor me. Have a very, very, very